Hello students, welcome to Power Tutorials. So today we are going to do another live session, and today the topic is life process of science. So just give me a minute, so I'll just check in my laptop if everything is fine with respect to angle, and then we'll start the session. Okay, so since everything's fine, let's start. Let me change the filter so that it can be more brighter. How about this? I think this is better. As mentioned, today's chapter is life process. So this is belongs to NCERT. Class 10 and chapter is 6. So first understand what is a life process. So before that, I'll use a few sketch pens so that it will be easy to understand. Okay. First, suppose how we can know whether any living thing is moving or dead or alive or something. So for example, if we consider trees, so how can you consider the tree is living if the leaf is green color or even the branch is brown in color? Then we can say that the tree is good, that is in good shape. Whereas if the tree doesn't have any greeny leaf stable, everything is shed off, then we say that it is a dead tree. The same thing if we consider for other animals also. Or suppose we have a cat. Don't go with the symbols, just I'm giving for the representation. So how to say that a cat is dead or alive? If it is moving, if it is stuck and it is not moving, we say that it is dead animal. The same ways to maintain any living thing, it can be plant or animal, to have a life. So we need to have some support system or some maintenance system such that the living thing become active. So this process is nothing but the life process. So simply you can see the life process definition can be the system which maintains or supports the functionality of a body. Body can be living, I mean humans, animals as well as plants also, to become alive or living. So simply, for layman terms, you can say that life process system which maintains and supports the function of the body to become alive. So simply, you can say these two examples here. to say that the plant to be alive, there should be some life process. Life process is nothing but here there can be intake of food. The plant has to survive. To survive the plant, it has to have some food. It has to have some energy to survive. So how it is getting energy, that we will see. So at the same time, how it is getting, the consumption has been happening, how the transpiration has been happening. At the same time, how it is the wastes are also excretion. So all this belongs to the life process. The same way for animal also, how it is getting energy. So it has to have some food or water or anything. Then also not only food, but if you directly take food, it will not get energy. There has to some process such that the food is broken down into certain particles like glucose or carbohydrates, then only it get energy. So that things also you have to consider. At the same time, after generating each food also, there can be cases of getting wastage. So how the waste is also getting separated from the body is also important. So before that, so let's see how we are getting energy. That is through, first part is nutrition. So total we have 4 steps. The first is nutrition. Nutrition is about how we are getting energy. I mean the food material. Next is respiration. What are the food we are taking to nutrition? How it is from where the food is fine, but we need energy from it. So how it is converting that food to energy, we'll see in respiration. And then is transportation. So what is transportation? The thing which I mentioned here, nutrition is the transfer of food from the outside to body and to inside the body part where it is consumed. The same, the respiration is a part where the energy is getting utilized, like what are the food materials or the anything is found that has to be converted into glucose or something. So that part will be covering respiration, how the energy is getting created. Then the transportation is nothing but whatever is getting involved in this process, like movement of from outside food to the entire internal body, and then again through respiration we're getting energy. Then the energy has to be transported to each and every part. That also will be taken care in this transportation. And the third one is excretion. So excretion is the removal of wastage from the body, so that it will not get stored in the body. So whatever the transportation, the nutrition has been happening, respiration has been happening in this process, there will be a lot of homogeneous waste which should not be present in the body, not even in the plants as well. So that has to be removed out. So that removal of wastes from the body is called excretion. So let's see each and everything. First we'll cover about nutrition. So before that nutrition, we have 2 types, which is autotrophs and heterotrophs. So what are autotrophs? Which prepare their own food. And heterotrophs are the animals or plants, which, not animals, not plants, so it's only animals, because plants belong to autotrophs. So these depend on others for food. So we have autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are the one which prepare their own food. And here the example are plants. Whereas here the example are any animals, or even our human's body also comes under heterotrophs. So let's study about autotrophs first and then we'll go with heterotrophs. So what are autotrophs? As I mentioned, the example is plants. So plants are the only living things in the universe which prepare their own food. So we'll see how they are preparing their own food. So plants prepare their own food by a process called, so this I think everyone might have heard before in previous classes. The process is through photosynthesis. So if you break down this process, you can see that photo is nothing but light and this is the process to prepare food. So they are preparing food with the help of sunlight. So for photosynthesis, we need to have three things, which are, let me use orange, carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. So first point, which are needed to perform photosynthesis. We have three things, which are carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. Now we'll see how plants is using these three to get their food. So for that we need to understand the structure of leaf, because leaf is the part where the photosynthesis is being happening. So okay. So if we take the cross-sectional examination of leaf through microscope or through any smallest diagram, so the structure will be like this way. So this is the upper layer, call it as upper epidermis. This is the lower epidermis. So what is this diagram? This is nothing but the plant leaf diagram. Suppose okay. Consider this paper as a leaf. Okay, so what is the cross-sectional diagram is nothing but we are taking in this way considering, and we are taking a deepest examination. So we are cutting, zooming out in such that the leaf portion or the paper portion which I examined here, the leaf portion, if we zoom it down, so how this will be, the upper portion is the upper epidermis, lower is lower epidermis, in between how it is present. So here we have the main part which is called chloroplast. These are air gaps. This is cytoplasm. We have chlorophyll. We have chlorophyll inside cytoplasm. These are nothing but God cells. I will explain in detail why it is needed. So let's study about cytoplasm as well as the this is not cytoplasm, it is chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast we have chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the green pigment which is present on the leaf, which is necessary to perform photosynthesis. So let's see, let's divide the photosynthesis into three steps. The first step is absorption of sunlight. So now light energy is getting absorbed in the sunlight, in the leaf. So what is happening later? Whatever the light energy is getting absorbed, it will convert into chemical energy. So light energy is converted energy to break water molecule. So as I mentioned, we have three important parts for photosynthesis, which are CO2, water and sunlight. So first step is the conversion of using sunlight, it is getting light energy. So this light energy is converted to chemical energy and it is helping to break down the water which is getting absorbed through roots of the plant such that the water molecule can be separated into hydrogen and oxygen molecules. Later, the carbon dioxide which is absorbed so whatever the carbon dioxide is absorbed, it will broken down into carbohydrates or the glucose or the energy substance. So after that, now we'll see the another important part of the plant which is stomata. The leaves contain stomata, and here the stomata is important because it is the main part where exchange of gases happens. Let's see how suppose this is the leaf structure. So we have guard cells inside it. And this is the stomata part, stomatopore. So what is the functioning of the guard cells? They help to close as well as open on the requirement. Suppose plant needs carbon dioxide. So what we'll do is the guard cells will open this part such that the stomata can absorb carbon dioxide. The same way if oxygen is about to exit from the stomata, then again the guard cells will open such that the carbon dioxide oxygen which is created will exhale. The same way, so this is open state. If you want for the closed state, it will be in this way. The guard cells will be combined, right? It will be closely packed as the stomata is closed. So in this way it will stop. If it is required, it will open. So here the guard cells is helping for the stomatopores to absorb carbon dioxide as well as to remove. At the same time, if it requires water to be consumed, then it will again open, and if it is nothing is required, it will close it. So stomata is mainly important for exchange of gases, and guard cells are mainly important to make it movement, like movement of stomata from closing as well as opening. The guard cells are important, whereas stomata, as I mentioned, here the place where the exchange of gases happens. So now we understood how food is getting prepared in the plants, because it is happening through photosynthesis. And the processes, we have three things: carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. So first it is absorbing sunlight, then converting light energy into chemical energy, and the chemical energy is used to break down water molecule. And the other is the carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide absorbed is converted into glucose as energy. Now let's see about heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophs are the ones which cannot prepare their own food. So here we have again three types. First one is saprophytic, second is parasitic, and third is holozoic. So saprophytic are the animals or the living things which depend on, let me use another color. Dead and decaying matter. So what is happening? The saprophytic are the animals or the living things which depend on dead and decaying matter. So what they are doing is they will produce some enzymes outside their body, and these enzymes will act on the dead and decaying matter, and then they will absorb energy from that matter. The example is fungi. The second is parasitic. So parasitic are the ones which absorb entire body. So how it is happening? For suppose we have, you might have seen in your childhood times also, there are few plants. It will be shaped like this with teeth on it. So what is this plant's example? It's a parasitic example where it will, whatever the insect is coming into beside it, or what is any fly or anything, what it will do is it will swallow entirely. There is no breakdown anything, it will directly consume the entire body, and this is called as host and this is called as parasite. I have few more examples. I will tell you in the part 2 about the parasitic animals. And what about the holozoic? Holozoic example is the human body. So what human body is doing? It is absorbed. We are breaking down food into small particles converting into required form and then we are observing. So in this way the example is human body. So let's recap again. For heterotrophic nutrition, that is the ones which depend on others to prepare their own food. So we have total 3 types, which are saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic. Saprophytic are the ones which depend on dead and decaying matter. The example is fungi. The fungi, how it is done is it will excrete some enzymes on the dead and decaying matter so that they will change the form, and then the form will be absorbed by the material, the human living material. The second is parasitic. Parasitic are the ones which absorb their entire body of the host. For example is this plant which I have just explained, that parasite, it will, any fly or host is coming near to it, it will just swallow completely the entire body and then the digestion will happens. The holozoic are the ones which breaks down what are the food they are taking into smaller particles or the smaller forms like glucose, carbohydrates and all, and then it will be absorbed. The example is human body. Let's see about what is happening in the human body in detail. So human body, let's use blue color. So let's start like how we are taking the food and how it is getting digested. We'll see. For that we have, okay, let me use, let's see. The first part is the mouth. Mouth, what we have teeth inside it, and also we have tongue, which is very important for the digestion. From here the food goes to alimentary canal. From here it goes to stomach. From stomach it goes to small intestine, which is inside large intestine. From large intestine we have appendix, and from here we have anus. And besides stomach we have 2 parts, which are liver and pancreas, and we also have a bile duct next to liver. Let's keep it somewhere here. So suppose this is a human body. We'll see how it is happening in detail. So first one is this, we call this part as buccal cavity. So what is happening in the buccal cavity? We have teeth as well as salivary glands, which is tongue, and below the tongue we have the salivary glands. So what is teeth is helping? So teeth is helping to cut vegetables. So not vegetables, so whatever the food we are taking, it will cut it. Cutting of food. The next part is we have salivary glands. Before that, I will tell you we have one important part during digestion, which is called enzyme. Let's see what about enzyme first. So enzyme is a biocatalyst. So catalyst, I think you might have heard, catalyst is the one which helps to perform any chemical reaction. So here enzyme is a biocatalyst because it is preparing by our body itself, and this will help breaking down or conversion of food. So we'll see each and different enzymes we have in our body during digestive system and how it is happening. So salivary glands produce an enzyme called salivary amylase. So what this enzyme will do? It will break starch to sugar. So whatever the food we are taking through the mouth, so the salivary glands is producing enzyme. So this enzyme, whatever the food is getting converted, the starch is present, the starch will be converted into sugar. And the second, from here the food now is entering into this long pipe, and we call this pipe as esophagus. So what is esophagus? It's a long pipe which is connecting mouth and stomach. So from here, now food is now entering into stomach. So how it is entering? It is a pipe we know, but there should be some movement of the muscles such that only the food from the mouth can be entered into stomach. And that movement we call it as parasitic movement. Sorry, I will just check the name. We have one movement, I will just cover this part in part 2. We have one movement of the muscles. Due to this movement, we are able to get food from mouth into stomach. Okay, as I mentioned, I will cover this and the name of the movement in the second part. So after coming to the stomach, we will see what is happening inside stomach. So stomach has, you can see here, the food now entered into stomach. So the main part of the stomach is, it will produce 3 things, which are mucus, HCl and pepsin. So what these two will do, we'll see. So HCl is nothing but the acid, hydrochloric acid. So what are the stomach is generating HCl? It will act on the food which is coming into the stomach, so and it will make the food to acidic medium. First thing. And second, what are the acidic medium is food is present? We have the pepsin converts proteins and breaks to smaller particles. It also helps proteins to convert into amino acids, but in detail it will go to it will perform small intestine. So just I'm saying that pepsin is the enzyme which is present in stomach, which helps for the digestion of proteins. Whereas for food to become acidic is done and the mucus. What about mucus? So what are the HCl it is getting created inside the stomach? So definitely there should be some protection layer on the stomach so that it will not get impacted, because HCl is acidic. If acid is getting reacted with the stomach or the internal part, there will be internal bleeding and the part will get injured. So what mucus is doing is, it is a kind of membrane here, so which is protecting stomach from the excess HCl. Mucus is protecting stomach from HCl. So till here you understood what is happening in stomach. We have mucus, HCl and pepsin inside stomach. So what they are doing is, the HCl is converting first food to acidic, and then it will broken down whatever the larger substances are coming into stomach. And we have pepsin, which helps to digestion of proteins, and we have mucous membrane. So what is mucous membrane functionality? It helps to protect the stomach from the excess HCl. Now we will see the other parts. We have liver and pancreas and the small intestine. Now the food will not go to liver, will not go to pancreas. Okay, so these are only to helpful the digestion, but nothing goes, food will not go into these parts. So it might ask in your exam, does the food go into liver or pancreas? And you have to say it is no, because food will not enter into liver or pancreas. Those will only helps to generate enzymes for the digestion. So this is stomach. So stomach is done now. Now the food is going into small intestine. Now we will see what is happening in small intestine. Small intestine is the main part of our digestive system, where the food is getting converted into smaller particles, and from here what are the glucose or carbohydrates, amino acids getting converted, those will be transported to other part. Now we'll see what is small intestine first of all. So small intestine is a pipe-like structure in length of small intestine differs from each animal. Suppose for herbivores, like for cow, goat, such herbivores, the small intestine length will be more. Because it requires more time for digestion. Whereas for carnivores like tiger or lion, small intestine length is small. You might be thinking why. So what are the carnivores they will take? They will take that food directly from animals. So it is already digested from plants. So it is easy to digest. Whereas for herbivores, they will taking food from directly plants. So it requires more energy or more process to convert that plant food to the required energy form. Whereas from conversion from animal food to the energy form, it is easy. So that's why the carnivores has small intestine is a less length. Whereas for herbivores, the small intestine is larger length. So let's talk about enzymes first. So now we have food from the stomach, but that food has to be converted into glucose, carbohydrates, amino acids, as well as fatty acids and all. So let's see each thing how it is getting converted. So before that, as I mentioned, we require enzymes here. So small intestine produce an enzyme called, first the juice is intestinal juice. This intestinal juice helps to convert carbohydrates to glucose. So now carbohydrates has been converted to glucose. What about rest? So for this we have the juices coming from liver and pancreas. Liver excretes bile juice, that means it prepares bile juice and sends to its small intestine, whereas pancreas prepares pancreatic juice, which has lot of enzymes for the digestive system. We'll study about few enzymes now. In the bile juice, as I mentioned, it is very important for two functionalities. First functionality, it converts acidic to alkali medium. Like as I mentioned, in the stomach we have acidic medium. The food is acted on by the help of HCl and then it's broken down. So the food is acidic. So to perform, we shouldn't have the acidic food in the small intestine. So for that we have to first convert it into alkali. So this bile juice helps to convert the acidic medium to alkali medium. And the second important point for the bile juice is it helps to convert like bulker fats products to small products, like bulk fat to small fat. So these two conversions will be done, and we might have studied, as I mentioned previously, we also have a, okay, let's mark it now. This is liver, this is pancreas, and this one is bile duct. We'll study about these three. So liver is the one which is excreting bile juice. The bile juice is important to convert the acidic food to alkali food, whereas pancreas is pancreatic juice, and we'll study about this. And the bile duct, as I mentioned, what are the excess bile juice which is created by the liver, so that will be moved to bile duct. So we shouldn't have excess bile juice. So excess bile is also very injurious to health, and it also leads to jaundice kind of thing. So that's why the bile creation of the liver has to be limited. So why the bile juice can be more? If you take more oily food or more fatty food, then to digest that food, the liver excretes more bile juice. So that's why it's suggested to take limited quantity of oil or fat food, such that bile is excreted in a limited way, such that it will not impact our system. And the same way, the excess storage will be happening in the bile duct. So if the bile duct is already full and still the liver is excreting bile, then it will go to the stomach and will have a serious infection, and this releases in jaundice. So let's come back to the chapter. So liver, as I mentioned, it has two things. It converts acidic food to alkali food, that is acidic medium to basic medium. And the second is it converts bulk food, that is larger particles of fat to smaller particles of fat. Let's see about pancreatic juice. So pancreatic juice, what it will do? It has enzymes called trypsin. So what trypsin will do is it converts proteins to amino acids. Have okay, fats already done. Which converts fats to fatty acids and glycerol. And pancreas is also important for the creation of hormones as well, but it will study in the other chapters. So pancreatic juice produces two enzymes which are multiple enzymes, but here we're studying about two enzymes which are trypsin and lepsin. So trypsin converts proteins to amino acids and lepsin acts on fats to prepare fatty acids and glycerol. So all conversions has been done. So intestinal juice helps to convert carbohydrates to glucose. Pancreatic juice produces trypsin and lepsin. The trypsin converts proteins to amino acids, and lepsin converts fats to fatty acids and glycerol. And these fatty acids, the fats are small fats because the liver already helped to break down larger fats to smaller fats. So this is already done. The smaller fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol using pancreatic juice enzymes. Okay. Now in the small intestine we have all the required products which are glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. Now this has to be moved to the other parts of the body. How it will be done? This can be done through, in the small intestine we have hair-like structures on inside part. These are nothing but villi. So villi are the hair-like structure on walls of small intestine which absorbs all these products. So what this villi is, these are connected to blood vessels. So from here it is moving to blood vessels. So blood vessels are nothing but that which helps for transportation. From there it moves to other parts or the heart or the required parts. So the villi is the particle. So we have food here, and the food contains, the food extraction has been happening, and we have glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. So whatever is getting produced, the food, it will be absorbed by the villi and it will be stored to blood vessels. So that's why we say that it's important part in the nutrition system or the digestive system, because here the required amino acids, glucose, glycerol and all are getting created, and those are moving in the blood vessels. And the rest part, which is the wastage or the remaining part, will be moved from this small intestine to this other part, which is large intestine. So now small intestine part is done. We have the acidic part, and from here we got the juices, that is from liver and pancreas, and the more bile juice has been stored in the bile duct, and if it is getting more, then the bile directly will be converted into the stomach, from the intestine, and it leads to jaundice. So that's why we need to have the required amount of bile in the sufficient one. We shouldn't cross the required amount. And then from small intestine, as I mentioned, we have small villi-like structures and which are connected to blood vessels. From here all the glucose, amino acids, fatty acid, glycerol converted, and these are absorbed by the villi and then moved to the blood vessels, from where it will move to other parts of the body. And the rest wastage product, whatever is present in the small intestine, will be moved to large intestine. So what is happening in the large intestine, we'll see now. So this is large intestine. Now I'm explaining one part each time so that it will be easier to remember, and not marking all the parts at the same time. So let's see what is happening in large intestine. Large intestine, water and other useful products are absorbed from food, and remaining part, remaining food or wastage, is sent out through anus. So anus is a part which is this one. So from here, what are the food we get, the wastage which is produced will be sent out through anus. So in this way, this concludes the entire nutrition part. how the food is absorbed through teeth and then to buccal cavity. This is entire part is a buccal cavity. From there it goes to esophagus, and this is moved to peristaltic movement. So using peristaltic movement of muscles, the food enters from mouth to stomach, and stomach, as I mentioned, it has three things: HCl, mucus, and pepsin. The HCl acts as a food to make it acidic and break down small particles. The pepsin helps to digestion of proteins, and the mucus is a membrane which is helping stomach from the acidic medium. Like it prevents the stomach to happen any injury due to the acid. From there it goes to small intestine, and the small intestine, the main digestive system happens. Like it converts food to glycerol, fatty acids, amino acids, and glucose. So how it is being done? It is getting help from liver and pancreas. These are excreting some juices into the small intestine. The juice is nothing but the bile juice from liver and pancreatic juice from pancreas. The bile juice helps to convert the acidic food which is created in stomach to alkali food, that is basic medium, and also helps to convert large fats to small fats. And the pancreatic juice which is which you are getting from pancreas, it will convert. It has many enzymes, and a few enzymes are trypsin and lepsin. So lepsin converts fats to fatty acid and glycerol, whereas trypsin converts proteins to amino acids. And the small intestine also has some a juice, which is intestinal juice. So what intestinal juice will do is it comes to convert carbohydrates to glucose. And the next one is, after the small intestine has this hair-like structures called villi on the walls of it. So what villi will do is, it is connected to blood vessels. So villi absorbs all these things, the glucose, amino acids, fatty acid, glycerol, and there it moves to the blood vessels. From there it is transported to other part. So what are the wastage or the leftover food is present in the small intestine? It will move to large intestine, and the large intestine, the excess water or the unrequired, anything which is present in the food will be captured, and the rest wastage will be sent outside through anus. So this concludes nutrition part. Now we will go to the second one, which is respiration. So what is respiration? The glucose or whatever it's getting created is fine, but we require energy for it, energy from that. So how the energy is getting converted? Simple equation of the respiration is so this is a basic equation of respiration, where we say that glucose combining with oxygen to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy. But in detail we'll see it will not be such easy. We have some more steps in between, then only we'll get the energy. So how it is being done? First thing, the glucose will be converted into pyruvate, and this is happening in the cytoplasm of cell. As the body particles contain a large number of cells, and each cell we have a cytoplasm of it. So what is cytoplasm is that it converts the glucose into pyruvate, that is 3 carbon molecule. And from here we have 3 different kinds of respirations, which are one is aerobic and other 2 are anaerobic. Anaerobic in sense absence of oxygen, and aerobic in sense presence of oxygen. Just pink color. Aerobic, and these 2 are anaerobic. And this happens in mitochondria, and this is happening in cytoplasm, whereas this happens in mitochondria. So mitochondria is nothing but the powerhouse. It is also called as powerhouse of cell. And the energy unit is ATP full form is adenosine triphosphate. So in the aerobic condition, that is in human bodies, the aerobic conditions, the pyruvate will be converted into carbon dioxide and water and energy. Whereas in anaerobic conditions, the first one is while doing exercise also we get in some energy instantly. So this is nothing but which is happening in the muscles in the anaerobic conditions, that is without oxygen, and this is producing lactic acid and carbon dioxide. So this is also energy, but it will be less amounts. Whereas in anaerobic conditions, we have and this happens in yeast. Without the presence of oxygen, it converts the the carbon material into ethanol and carbon dioxide, and this is happening in the yeast example. This is example in human body, and this also happens in human body, but in the part of muscles where during exercise or something, without the presence of oxygen also, the lactic acid and carbon dioxide will be produced, and this happens anaerobically, and the energy will be lesser and compared to the energy which is produced during aerobic condition. We'll see how this is happening in detail, because we have a human body which is a larger body, so each part has to be specifically observed with respect to our digestive system, how I explained from buccal cavity to the anus. The same way for respiration also we have different parts involved in the human body and how it is performed. We'll see. So first part is nostrils. Nostrils are the two holes of the nose which you have it. From here we have nasal cavity. Then we have common part, which is pharynx. Then we have larynx here, which is the vocal cord. Then we have trachea. Trachea is nothing but the pipe-like structure which you have in your throat. You can also touch it with your bare hand to your neck. You can see some ringe-like structures. So these are nothing but the trachea or the windpipe. So from this windpipe we have long connection, and from where it will broken down into two parts. From here it will go to the bag-like structures which are nothing but lungs. So this dividing part is bronchus or bronchioles. So this bronchus artery is showing here. It will get further divided into multiple parts and multiple systems similar to neurons which you have in our brain. So what are these? Will have smaller bag-like structures. And these bag-like structures are nothing but alveoli, and this part is wings. So what happened? What are the what are the oxygen we are getting? It is first starting from nostrils and then to pharynx and then to larynx. Larynx is a common pipe which is also called for vocal cord, where the vocal cord is present. And from here it goes to trachea. Trachea is ring-like structures which are present inside the throat. and there it goes to pipe, and this pipe is connected to bronchus from where it is getting divided into two bag-like structures which are called lungs, and inside the bronchus it will again further divide into multiple parts, and each part is called alveoli, and we'll see how the alveoli is helping to convert oxygen into carbon dioxide or the transport of exchange of gases. So alveoli is nothing but similar to like this. You can see, as I mentioned, the each bottom part is a bag-like structure. So this is nothing but alveoli is showing here. So what is alveoli? It is connected to various blood vessels. Each alveoli is connected to various blood vessels. So what is blood vessels contains? This contains carbon dioxide filled blood from the entire body. So what happens is blood containing CO2 will be coming to alveoli, and here exchange of gases happens such that now the blood becomes oxygen filled, like oxygenated blood. So how the exchange of gases is happening? This is happening through a process called diffusion. So how the diffusion is happening? What are the carbon dioxide is present before? Let me use colors differently. What are the carbon dioxide is present in the blood? It will move inside alveoli, and what are the oxygen is present inside the alveoli will be sent out to the blood. Now the blue color, that is carbon dioxide, will become oxygenated blood. It's happening through diffusion, and the carbon dioxide is soluble in water and soluble in blood. So the carbon dioxide blood which is coming, it will go to the alveoli, and the oxygen which is present in the alveoli which we got from the air, so that will be pushed out to the blood. Now the blood become oxygenated blood. So the blood contains another important part which is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red colored pigment present in blood which helps in exchange of gases, and hemoglobin contains oxygenated blood. So in this way the respiration process is completed. Like whatever the oxygen we are getting through nostril go to pharynx, that common pipe, and then it will go to larynx which is the vocal cord structure, and then it goes to trachea which is the windpipe, and it has multiple ringes which you also can feel with your bare hand, and then it goes to bronchus, and it will divide into two bag-like structures which are lungs, and inside the lungs the bronchus is separated into multiple each part which is called alveoli, and inside the alveoli the exchange of gases happens. How the alveoli is connected to the blood vessels. Inside from the blood vessels, what are the deoxygenated blood, that is a carbon dioxide filled blood is coming, it will get diffused into the alveoli, and the oxygen which is present in the alveoli will be sent into the blood, and the blood becomes oxygenated blood. And what are the carbon dioxide which is getting created in the alveoli will be again pushed out, the same process to outside. So oxygen is coming in, getting distributed in alveoli, the blood water is carbon dioxide full will be converted into oxygenated blood, and the carbon dioxide which is sent again to alveoli will be pushed back to the nostrils. So how this is happening also, we have some movement. So for that we have a structure which is called diaphragm. So what diaphragm will help is, this belongs to abdomen part. So we have two things which is inhalation and exhalation. Let's simply inhale and exhale if I write it. What happens during inhale is the diaphragm will move upward, so once diaphragm is moves upward, it will create a pressure inside it, so due to which we inhale, oxygen will be moved inside. So if oxygen moved inside, the ribs will become large, and during exhalation what will happen? The reverse way, that is now the rib cage or the structure will become closed, and once it is getting closed, the exhalation happens. Now the ribs get inside, they will, instead of expanding, they will contract. The abdomen increases, the abdomen moves down, In this way we can say that now the oxygen is, carbon dioxide is moving out. So this whole process is happening with the help of diaphragm. Diaphragm is nothing but the part which is acting as a membrane between rib cage and the abdomen part. So due to this movement, if it is moving up, the pressure which is will be created and the oxygen will be sent out. And the same way if it is moving up, the carbon dioxide will be sent out. So this concludes the respiration process. Now we'll see another process which is transportation. For transportation, we have three important parts which are blood vessels, and third is heart. This is about each one in detail. Before that, okay, let's complete the human and then we'll go with plant as well. So let's complete human transportation. So what are the blood is have? It has, again, it has three types inside it. Which are red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. So what is the red blood cells mean? We also called as red blood corpuscles also. So red blood cells are red in color. The color indicates red in color. Contains hemoglobin. Helps to exchange gases. White blood cells, the main part is defense system. So white blood cells is very important for defense system against any viruses or bacteria which are getting contact. So white blood cells is the fighting part which fights with that bacteria or the virus which is coming into the body, and they will help to destroy them. And this doesn't contain hemoglobin and is not helpful for any exchange gases. The main part of the white blood cells is the defense system. What are the platelets? Platelets helps for blood clotting. For suppose we have someone got an injury and so blood is flowing out. So we need to stop it. For that, our blood has platelets. So what platelets will do is it will help to clot the blood and it will stop it. So that's why we found wounds and all. So what is wound is nothing but the action which is performed by the platelets. So what platelets will do is it will try to close that part and stop the blood flow outside our body. So this is respect to blood. Now we study about blood vessels. So blood vessels are also of three types. Arteries, veins, and capillaries. We'll study about arteries and veins first. So arteries are the blood vessels which transport oxygen from heart to other body parts. Whereas veins transport carbon dioxide from body parts to heart. So as this is transporting from heart to other body parts, here the blood pressure is high. But as it is collecting blood from all the body parts to heart, here the blood pressure is low. As it is transporting oxygen, oxygenated blood, we call this transport, this contains oxygenated blood, whereas veins contains deoxygenated blood, or simply we can say that carbon dioxide rich blood. This doesn't contain walls. This contains walls. So what is the purpose of walls? To avoid backflow, because we doesn't want our body part to again get carbon dioxide blood. To avoid backflow. So wherever valves are present inside our human bodies, those are mainly for to avoid backflow. And these are thicker because the blood pressure is high, and these are thinner because the blood pressure is low. So these 5 differences are very important. You might get at least for 3 marks questions to differentiate between arteries and veins. Then you have to mention all 5 points. First is to transport carbon dioxide blood from heart to other body parts is arteries, other body parts to heart. That carbon dioxide blood from other body parts to heart is veins. Here the BP is high, then the blood pressure is high because it is pumping, heart is pumping with high pressure to other body parts. Where it's getting blood from other body parts, the BP will be low, then the blood pressure is low. It contains oxygenated blood, contains deoxygenated blood. It doesn't contain walls because there is no fear for backflow. If it is also backflow, it is also fine because the body requires oxygenated blood. Whereas this contains walls to avoid backflow because the deoxygenated blood or the carbon dioxide rich blood which is collecting from body, it doesn't want to go again to that body part. It has to be only one side. And these are thicker because it is high blood pressure, and these are thinner. So you might have seen in any blood test or any test, they will try to capture from arteries. It's not veins. So whatever the green color lines or whichever you can see on the body part are called arteries. But in regular way we say it as vein, but it's not vein. It is artery. So because from artery only the blood is pumping out, so that blood only it will go for the testing. So capillaries are the pipe-like structures which help for exchange of gases. So only part of the capillaries are the part which are helping for exchange of gases. So this exchange of gases happens at the lungs also, where I have already explained at the alveoli, the carbon dioxide blood is coming and carbon dioxide getting into the alveoli, whereas oxygen from the lungs are getting captured and it is moving into the in the blood. So this part is being done using capillaries. Let's see about the main part of the human body, which is heart. Okay, as it already crossed 1 hour, let's continue in the second part from heart, and we'll complete heart as well as the excretion part, and also we'll discuss about how the transportation has been happening in plants. So this live session I will start around 3:30. So who are interested in this live sessions can start with your part 2, which I will start around 3 or 3:30. So let's meet again. Thank you.